how's it going, lads? We all want to be jacked, right? We do not want to be super skinny. And look, it's difficult to get jacked, it's difficult to make money, but thinking back in my own personal experience, the biggest frustration I faced along the way was when I was still 62 kg, and more than anything, I just wanted to be more than 80 kg, and then everything in my life would be better. So I understand that frustration. So I want you to think of me as your little tech support here. I'm gonna run you through a couple of troubleshoots and things we've got to make sure we have in order, because if you're struggling to bulk now, these things might just sort it out for you. Make sure you stick around and see all these points, because if even one of these is off, it can derail your entire journey. So without further ado, let's jump in. And if this works well, you can send me a gift card to pay for my tech support services. Point 1. I do not want to sound like every single person when they talk to you about training, but this one is super important, so I have to include it. Consistency. If we're not consistent in any facet of this bulking journey, whether it's calorie intake, whether it's hitting our workouts, whether it's sleeping, if there's any inconsistencies across the board, we're taking one step forward, one step back. So no matter how much effort we may feel like we're putting in to keep progressing forward, we're slowing ourselves down. But if we go through the pain of discipline and consistency and we stick with it every day, regardless of how we feel, it only becomes a matter of when. It doesn't become a matter of are we gonna do it or not, how are we gonna do it? We know the steps and we just stick with it day in, day out, and we will get there, trust me. Look at me now, I've still got a lot more size I want to put on, but I'm up more than 20 kg from when I started doing this. So if you're currently hitting all your boxes and ticking things off 3 days a week, it's not going to cut it. We've got to build a system that is going to be 7 days a week, every single week until we reach our goal. Second thing, we can't be scared of fat gain when we're trying to bulk up. Eating for me was the biggest problem. Training is one thing, but eating is the thing which is actually going to make the scales move. And I heard so many people saying to me, oh, you should try and lean bulk. You should stay nice and lean, bulk up nice and slow, spend 5 years training hard, and then you get a good size. And I thought, I don't want to do that 5 years. Why would I even bother in the first place? I want results as quick as possible. So throw that idea of not wanting to gain fat out of the window. Eat whatever you want. So long as you're eating enough protein in the day, if you want to chug chocolate milk 24/7, you go for it. That is still going to be infinitely times better than trying to eat lean meats, rice, chicken and veg, broccoli, all that sort of stuff. If the alternative is just to not hit your calorie intake, eat whatever you want and you'll be better off because of it. Thirdly, comes around to training intensity. If our training intensity is not high enough, if we're not pushing for progressive overload, even if we're going to the gym 5 days a week and following our program exactly, if we're not upping the weight, if we're not pushing out some of those sets to failure to ensure that we're lifting heavier and heavier, our body is not really going to change. Because while I said don't stress too much about fat gain, we still want some muscle, right? We don't want to put on 20 kilos of fat and half a kilo of muscle. We still want to get that definition on. And so when I train, what I like to do is I always have rep ranges. So I'm not doing 3 sets of 12, I'm not doing 3 sets of 8, I might be doing 3 sets of 8 to 12. And what that means is when I can do 3 sets of 12 reps at that weight, I up it. And once I've upped the weight, obviously I'm not going to be hitting sets of 12 anymore. So I'm going to keep on working it out, trying to get more reps in week in, week out to force that growth. And then once I hit 3 sets of 12 again, that's when we up the weight. That's the simplest way to make progressive overload super easy and not be guessing, oh, am I making progress? Am I not? Fourth thing, super important, again to do with nutrition, is our protein intake has to be absolutely dialed in. Protein's not that difficult. Simple equation, you just have 1 gram of protein for every pound of body weight, or 2 grams of protein for every kilo of body weight, depending where you're from. And I only track my calories and my protein, because calories is going to shift the scales and protein is going to shift the muscles. You don't have to worry too much about, oh, how much of this is fats? How much of this is micros? Am I getting my correct serving of fish in every week? Don't stress about that. It's information overload. It makes it feel too hard. So just track calories, track your protein. If you're not gaining weight, eat more calories, and whatever your weight is, use that little equation to get your protein numbers locked down. Fifth one here, and this has got almost nothing to do with effort. So it should be a nice easy one, but it's where a lot of people actually fall off, and that's sleep and recovery. In the gym, the only thing we can do there is damage our body, is to break down the muscle and do our training. We cannot actually grow the muscle in the gym. We can only destroy it. Where we grow the muscle is in deep sleep overnight. We've got our different sleep cycles, and at a particular point in each cycle, that's when our body repairs, heals, and that's where we get the exercise from. So if we're not prioritizing that recovery as mainly our number one thing, if we're not getting our 8+ hours of sleep each night, we can put in all this effort, we can eat all this food, but our body is not actually going to put that muscle on that we so desperately crave. The funny thing is, I saw so much content when I was younger saying you should get up at 5 a.m, go to a 10K run straight away because everyone else is sleeping, your competition is still asleep, and you'll beat them that way. But the time in my life where I gained the most weight the quickest and I gained the most money the quickest was when I was sleeping 8 to 9+ hours every single day. And when I woke up, I was still lying in bed for half an hour just going, this is nice, before getting up at like 9 a.m. So don't go into this thinking you have to wake up at 4 a.m. to grow your muscles. You really don't. The opposite of that is completely true. Regardless of your bedtime, just make sure you're getting that 8 hours plus of sleep in every single night. Final point here for you is about the mental. The physical is what we've spoken about so far, and yes, that's what actually drives our growth, eating, training, so on and so forth. But if we don't have the mental in check, we're going to derail ourselves and give up before we can actually see the changes. When I was still skinny, after every single workout, I would look in the gym mirror and think, am I bigger yet? Have my biceps grown an extra inch yet? I was obsessing about the change. That was all I wanted. I couldn't care less about the process. I wasn't going to the gym because I wanted to be in the gym. I was only going to the gym because I wanted to be Ronnie Coleman next week. And because I was expecting those changes immediately, I wanted the visible changes in weeks. I wanted to be jacked and I wanted all the girls to love me. That derailed me quite a lot because I'd lose heart. I'd train hard for 3 months, see the tiniest bit of progress, and then give up and think this is all too much. I'd spend 2 months off gym and come back and go for 3 months again. The easiest way to work around this is if you're someone who sees the gym, eating big as an obstacle, it's the most difficult thing in your life, is give yourself something harder, something you dread more. Something that you're going to worry about instead of the gym and instead of the calorie intake, because we need this to be part of our normal day. We go to the gym without ever really thinking about it. It's just part of our routine. It's like brushing our teeth in the morning. There's no emotions attached to it. We're just doing a ruthless process and we're not obsessing about the results because that is how we get the results. So if all you care about is getting jacked, if all you care about is the result, that's fine, but the way to do that is to obsess about the process instead and just make sure we're executing on that all the time, because as soon as we don't, we're not growing anymore, and if we're not growing, we're shrinking. So we have to keep that progress going 24/7, regardless of how slow it may feel at times. So my growth formula is quite simple. We've got consistent calories, progressive overload, and patience. If you master those three and you keep hitting those day in, day out, your growth and getting that size on will be inevitable. And understand that wherever you are now is the hardest part of the journey. It's only going to get easier the further you go. The more size I put on, the more I want to work out and the easier it feels to have that discipline. So at the beginning, if you can get through that, you will succeed. You're at the danger point now, so don't let yourself down now, push through, and you will make it, brother. I guarantee it. So I hope you love this video, boys. Drop a like, drop a comment, let me know what you thought. Heaps more content coming for you boys every single day. You know we out here smashing it out. And as always, lads, I will see you in the next video. Wachoo!